Coming up on UCF Nightly News, find out how local organizations are responding to last week's deadly officer-involved shooting in South Carolina.
And why local residents are upset over the possibility of more homes coming to this area.
And SpaceX almost made history with another launch.
You're watching Nightly News, covering the university community and the greater Orlando area.
Nightly News starts now. Afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Melissa Murray.
And I'm Kelsey Walker. Today is Friday, April 17th.
Last week, we brought you a story out of South Carolina making national headlines.
And Nightly News reporter Arnold Godoy is here with us now. Arnold, there have been some developments following the story. What can you tell us?
Kelsey, since the incident, law enforcement has released a dash cam video, and the officer's family has spoken out. And I've also found out how the Black Student Union here at UCF are responding to the incident. A memorial sits at the place where Walter Scott was shot to death almost 2 weeks ago. The incident is yet another highly publicized case involving law enforcement. The only difference? This time it was all caught on camera. This is the video that shows why Officer Michael Slager has been charged with the murder of Walter Scott. Nightly News has decided to stop the video here because what follows is too disturbing. Since the shooting, South Carolina State law enforcement has released video showing Scott running from Slager after a routine traffic stop. The witness who recorded the incident spoke out saying the officer had everything under control. Families of both the officer and the victim have also spoken out.
That video should change the course of what's going on in the United States with all the senseless shootings.
He wants to help people. That's why he became a police officer.
Here in Central Florida, organizations were vocal for the cases of Eric Garner and Michael Brown, but this time around, there haven't been any protests. Valencia Titus is the president of the Black Student Union, an organization that has participated in such events. She says the Black community feels they've exhausted their options.
You see all these cases and it's just out of frustration, like what do we do next? Do we organize? Do we educate? It's how do we stop? Like, I don't really know, what can we do? How about people stop killing?
Nightly News is still waiting to hear back from other organizations who have said they are working on this locally. And later this half hour, I'll bring you a look at what's going on around the nation. Kelsey?
All right, thanks, Arnold. And the Ruby Tuesday restaurant chain is bringing more jobs to Central Florida, and it won't include serving up burgers and salads. The casual dining chain is opening a regional office near downtown Orlando on McGuire Boulevard. The new office is expected to generate about 45 new jobs. City of Orlando documents the average expected salary is around $85,000. All right, and the Florida Department of Health has confirmed a case of measles at a school in St. Lucie County. The unvaccinated 6-year-old boy is a student there, about 2 hours south of UCF. The St. Lucie School District is working with health officials to identify any possible exposures. The health department officials urge at-risk children and adults to get vaccinated.
The man accused of fatally shooting a North Carolina community college employee was arrested in Florida early Tuesday morning. Volusia County Beach Patrol found 21-year-old Kenneth Stansel sleeping on the beach in Daytona. Police in Goldsboro, North Carolina say Stansel shot and killed Ron Lane at Wayne Community College on Monday. Officers say Stansel worked for Lane in the past. And right now, Florida Highway Patrol is still trying to figure out why a woman drove the wrong way, leading to a fatal crash. FHP says 53-year-old Gloria Marcial was driving eastbound in the westbound lanes on the 436 on Tuesday night. That caused 3 crashes. 2 of the drivers were okay, and in the third crash, a 73-year-old man suffered serious injuries. That man is still recovering, but Marcial's injuries later killed her. Jasmine joins us now with a quick look at our current forecast, and I know right now it's definitely been pretty rainy the past few days. I'm hoping for a little bit better weekend.
Well, Melissa, if you were expecting a completely beautiful start to your weekend, I hate to rain on your parade, but we're looking at a 60% chance of showers today. And the heat isn't letting up either because it's about 81 degrees outside. If you pull the old stick your finger in the air to find the wind trick, you'll see the wind is coming from southwest at 6 miles per hour. And as if the rain and heat wasn't enough, it's good and muggy out today too. So we're feeling 67% humidity. Things could get better, though, throughout the week and the weekend. So later on, I'll let you know when I bring you your full forecast.
Thanks, Jasmine. Coming up after the break.
To put thousands of homes that would add over 10,000 cars to these roads here. And current Lake Pickett residents say that would be utterly irresponsible.
And reporter De'Ara Bradley found out what really happens with the results of those instructor surveys on MyUCF.
That and more coming up. Stay with us. A Dallas real estate firm is pushing for a new development that would add thousands of homes just miles from UCF. Current residents are worried about the impact this will have on their land and their lifestyle. Reporter Chad Irwin tells us why more homes could cause major problems.
If you drive down Lake Pickett Road, there's no way you'll miss them. Signs. Signs everywhere, warning residents of a development that could add up to 15,000 cars and thousands of people to the place they call home.
You know, we've got protected species across the street. It's the water. It's what will we do when there's over 2,000 houses across the street from us as far as flooding into our property.
We have cows and we have chickens and they're noisy and we hear the neighbor's donkey 2 pastures over.
Flooding is a huge concern if the land is developed, and local water management officials say that building something this big could leave the water with limited places to go.
We've noticed just since Avalon went in, our property floods now because of all of the development that's been down that way.
And that's not all Elizabeth Hester is worried about.
I mean, I don't worry about our kids out here because they can play free and do whatever it is they need to do to grow, and I don't have to worry about people coming onto our property and taking them or exposing them to things I don't want them to be exposed to it.
And to make it worse, county officials pledged that this land would remain protected until 2030.
This is all about money. How much can I make and how much can I take away?
This is a rural area and it's supposed to be protected.
But the would-be developers see things a little differently. They believe that this project could bring thousands of jobs to Orlando while also being sensitive to the land.
I feel like once you take out all of the rural areas in an area, it just becomes paved over.
And what we want to do is give this opportunity and choice to our children and their children.
In East Orange County, Chad Irwin, UCF Nightly News.
Save East Orange County, a group dedicated to preventing this development, is hosting a meeting at the River Run Church in Chiliota this Sunday at 6 p.m. All area residents are welcome to attend. And students can leave their books and papers behind after graduation, but unfortunately not their student debt. But students from Florida graduate with less debt than other students around the country. The Institute for College Access and Success reports that nationwide, average students' loan debts is about $28,000, but Florida is on the lower end, ranking 40th on the list with an average debt of about $24,000.
And students are at risk for more than just debt. A New York University study finds that students are more likely to have unprotected sex as they go through college. The study reports seniors are 2.5 times as likely to have unprotected sex as freshmen. Students from privileged backgrounds are less likely to use condoms than others, and the study also shows sophomores from disadvantaged backgrounds start behaving more like their peers. But are UCF students using protection? Well, a 2014 survey of UCF students found that condom use fluctuates. Students reported that using condoms between 6 and 46% of the time, depending on the sexual activity. 15 to 24-year-olds are at the greatest risk of contracting sexually transmitted diseases. UCF Health Center officials recommend getting tested for STDs once a year. Health Services offers free STD screenings. The next day to get tested is May 28th.
And how would you rate your professor this semester? UCF provides surveys for nights to evaluate their instructors. Reporter D.R. Bradley looks into these surveys and how the results are used.
Finals are right around the corner, and thoughts of summer vacation have filled the minds of many students. But there's one final frustration many say they experienced before freedom from school. 2 weeks before classes end, the Registrar's Office releases a Student Perception of Instruction survey on MyUCF. Students must complete this in order to access their student center, and many students say this is a big hassle.
That was kind of annoying because there was something I had to check on and I had to complete the surveys before I could go to the student center, but I think overall they're beneficial.
Although students say they see the benefit of evaluating their instructors, one psychology professor says he doesn't take the responses very seriously. Professor Charles Nagy believes many students rush through these surveys and do not put much thought into them.
Most people here don't look that closely at the evaluation. I'm talking about the university. But for young professors who are just starting off, I think UCF or university administrators in general look a little more closely at how are the evaluations to make sure nothing is really a real problem. But for older people like us, I don't think many of us give too much weight to those evaluations.
School administrators recognize the lack of students who want to participate in these surveys. They've attempted to make them easier for students to complete by shortening the question in hopes for more accurate answers. Professors receive these results and from there can choose to take the thoughts into consideration. In Orlando, De'Ara Bradley, UCF Nightly News.
Students have until April 27th to complete the surveys. Professors encourage Knights to participate in this research so they may improve their class structure. And it's official, Seminole County Public Schools will start the 2015-2016 school year a week earlier than anticipated. The county released a tentative calendar months ago suggesting August 24th as the start day. Rick Scott signed the bill into law this week that has students back in the classroom August 17th. The start date has students finishing the semester out in full before winter break. And starting this summer, students will notice a big change to the 2-year Lead Scholars program. The program first got a name change, and now the 4-year academy is taking over the auditorium in Farrell Commons. The move is replacing the Student Union Lead Lounge. Juniors and seniors can now apply to different leadership programs. This is the first time they can apply without completing the original 2-year academic track as a freshman.
UCF Health and Florida Hospital are collaborating at the gates of the Medical City in the Lake Nona area. This unique partnership is being called a one-stop shop for patients. Primary, specialty, and diagnostic care are all available under one roof. A secure computer system will house medical records and treatment plans, making transitioning easier for patients. UCF Health's faculty physicians are already seeing patients. The Florida hospital sector opens this Monday. The SpaceX launch took off on Tuesday afternoon and was just shy of making history. SpaceX had a reusable rocket attached to it that would potentially save millions of dollars for future launches. This video shows the reusable rocket Dragon 9 landing on the launch pad. However, the video does not show the rocket tipping over shortly after landing. SpaceX plans to try another launch in June. Florida wildlife officials are on their way back to legalizing black bear hunting across the state. Fish and Wildlife commissioners unanimously approved moving forward with the bill Wednesday night. This move comes after wildlife officials say more bears have been seen in suburban areas. FWC put the black bear on the threatened species list in 1974 and banned bear hunting statewide 20 years later. The proposal is up for a vote in June. Coming up after the break, Arnold Godoy has the headlines from across the country.
And then Jasmine Hankerson will join us with our full forecast. Stay tuned.
Welcome back.
Arnold Godoy joins us with headlines from across the country. Arnold, what's going on over there?
Kelsey, this week, jurors handed down guilty verdicts on all the charges against Aaron Hernandez. The former New England Patriots tight end was convicted in the murder of his one-time friend, Odin Lloyd. The charges also included unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. A Florida mailman had a special delivery for Congress Wednesday. Himself, 61-year-old Doug Hughes landed this small personal aircraft called a gyrocopter on the Capitol's west lawn. He had a letter for every member of Congress pushing for campaign finance reform. He was charged Thursday afternoon with operating an unregistered aircraft and violating national defense airspace. He is due back in court May 8th. And we're not even halfway through 2015, and the 2016 campaign season is already revving up. Florida Senator Marco Rubio announced his bid for the White House Monday night, just a day after Hillary Clinton announced her nomination. Clinton spent the week traveling to early voting states like Iowa and now New Hampshire. She hopes to make personal appeals to voters around the country. Rubio is the third runner on the Republican ballot. He is also the youngest candidate so far. And now, that's all the time we have for our national news. Jasmine is here now with our full forecast. Jasmine, I know it's looking a little rough this weekend, right?
But I can tell you that the nation's capital is probably a little bit cooler right now than Florida as we look at at our state temperatures, you can see up in Tallahassee they're at 75 and in Jacksonville, which is pretty good compared to what we have right now in Orlando, all the way up in the 80s. Just peaking that, and I feel bad for the people at USF right now because they're feeling 85, which is HOT, and I'm not trying to go there just yet. Down there in Miami, they're at 83 degrees, so that's a little bit close to where I am from home. They're feeling pretty good, a little hot for them as well, but they're used to it, I'm sure. Moving on to a broader scale for our national heat map, we can see most of the country is pretty cool in about the 70s or 60s. If you look at the Rocky Mountain area right here, they're a little cool too, 50s, 40s, but they're kind of used to it. But I know my sister, she traveled to Kansas City this weekend, and so she's feeling that little 60-ish, 70 weather, but she's used to it because she lives in Chicago. And if you obviously take a look down in Florida, we are all red, which is hot. We all know we're feeling the heat out there. So if we take a broader look into what that means for us with the humidity, we can see all green on this humidity map, which tells us that we're on the higher end of humidity. Right now in Orlando, we're at 67, but lower down in Florida, like around Key West area, they're at 71, 74. So they're feeling a little bit more muggy than we are right now. So we feel bad for them as well. And then even moving up to northern Florida, like Jacksonville, and then even off the coast, thing like that, their humidity in the 90s. That's way too much. But ladies, if you're trying to get your hair done, I would say stay inside this weekend because that bone straight can turn to an afro just like that. And taking a look into our 5-day forecast for the week and for the weekend. On Saturday, we're looking at 86 with a low of 70 and a 50% chance of rain. Heading into Sunday, it's just moving up a little bit with 88 degrees as a high and 70 as a low with 50% chance of rain. It's going to be 50% chance of rain basically up until Wednesday when we'll see it go back down till 20, staying in the high 80s until about Tuesday as well, and then maybe cooling off just a bit on Wednesday with 83. So I would say keep an umbrella close, but you might want to wear some shorts just in case too. Florida is predictably unpredictable. Back to you all at the desk.
Thanks, Jasmine. Coming up in 10 minutes on Night Chat.
Full swing across Central Florida. And we'll even take you to a house where students have a grocery store right in their backyard.
But first, we'll have Jack and Tom Ebel here with your sports update right after the break.
What's going on, Knights fans? I'm Tom Ebel. And I'm Jack Ebel. Last week's groundbreaking of the future U.S. Tennis Association's national campus in Lake Nona showed a glimpse of what's coming for UCF tennis. The 63-acre project is set to be the home court for the UCF men and women's tennis programs. The completion is set for fall of 2016, and the Knights are scheduled to begin competing there in spring 2017. Sports supervisor Jessica Rio has direct oversight of the tennis programs, and she says as Orlando grows as a sports mecca, it is impacting UCF.
So many different entities at this point that it's really going to help to change UCF and change the face of UCF and bring exposure that we really couldn't pay for with traditional marketing.
The Lake Nona campus is roughly a half hour away from UCF, so Rio says they do not have a plan in place right yet in terms of transportation for the athletes. You know, Jack, it's pretty exciting, all the stuff that's going around UCF right now. We first was Orlando City, now a major tennis complex is going to be right in our backyard. It's pretty cool to see. But anyways, the UCF women's golf team travels to Palm Coast this weekend for the American Athletic Conference Championship. The Knights are currently ranked 16th on the NCAA standings going into the event. They tee off this Sunday at Hammock Beach Golf and Spa Resort, just 80 miles north of UCF. With their top 20 ranking, the Knights are guaranteed a spot in the NCAA Regional Tournament starting May 7th. And now Natalie Pelluccetti joins us in the studio to tell us about wakeboarding. Natalie?
Well, Tom, you might not know this, but the Knights wake team has won 3 back-to-back national championships. They've only been around since 2012. This week I found out why some people believe Orlando is the wakeboarding capital of the world.
No boat, no gear, and only 12 riders. That's how Kellen Rudnicki founded the Knights wake team back in 2012. Fast forward 3 years, they're undefeated at every cable national event, and they destroyed the competition at the Red Bull Collegiate Wake event last week. Rudnicki says being in Orlando gives them an advantage.
It's really the huge capital of water sports, and it only makes sense that we're #1 in the nation.
So, what is cable wakeboarding, you ask? It's when you're pulled by an overhead cable ski system instead of a boat. And teammate John Drailing is the 8th best in the world at it.
I try to do as much online classes as I can because I'm just addicted to this. So I right now I have 3 online classes.
And that dedication is just what this team has. Practices are held at the Orlando Water Sports Complex, 40 minutes away from campus. But Rudnicki says winning nationals for the 3rd year in a row would be the icing on the cake to end his college career.
We anticipate on keeping that streak going, and we're only looking forward to having an even better team.
In Orlando, Natalie Pelluccetti, UCF Nightly News.
While Nationals doesn't begin until September, the team isn't taking any time off. Most team riders are out on the course 3 to 4 times a week on top of a team practice every Sunday. Back to you, Jack and Tom.
I tell you what, Tom, if I was on the wakeboarding team, I would lead the nation in wipeouts. You know, with us in our size 14, 15 feet, I don't even know if we'd be able to get them on the boards. But regardless, you know, I don't have any kind of comment about that. But the number 15 UCF baseball team lost a close one Wednesday versus the number 6 Miami Hurricanes 4-2. They'll look to rebound in their weekend series against Tulane. And the number 17 UCF softball team travels to Memphis this weekend for a 3-game series against the Tigers. The Knights will look to improve on their 40-6 record as the season's winding down. And for those of you that are yearning to see some football, it's back this weekend at Bright House Network Stadium. The UCF football spring game is tomorrow, April 18th at 2 p.m. Check out a preview of how the 2015 Knights football squad will look for the upcoming season. Also, what's coming up for this weekend, the UCF track and field team will be heading to California for the conference championships. Best of luck to them. That's all we have for sports. Stay tuned for Night Chat right after the break.